So this episode of building the Exocet is a scary one for me. The car is basically completely together. I have not yet done an exhaust video. Not much there using the NA exhaust, besides you got to fit in a test pipe. I'll do a short video on it later. But now I'll just kind of show you what we're looking at. Basically everything is done. Vacuum lines are ran, intake's done, all my coolant lines are ran, everything. I haven't done a whole lot on engine stuff because it's, you know, pretty much just standard Miata coolant reroute stuff that I've been doing, and I'm doing a 1.6 to 1.8 conversion. There's a lot of videos on this stuff. Basically the only thing I have left to do is strap up the MAF and put my air filter on. And the part this video is about, the electrical wiring. It is the part since day one, since I pulled that harness out and had it stretched completely across my driveway and 10 feet into the lawn. I've been dreading having to go to this part. But the exciting part is that is the last step to do before it runs. And in case you didn't see my previous videos, this is why I'm scared of it. Miles of wiring. This box probably weighs about 30 pounds. So anyways, I don't exactly know how I'm going to do this video. I do not think it is going to be a one-parter. I think it's going to be a many-parter. Off the top of my head here, I think I'm going to break it up into engine plugs, into wiring tray, dash plugs, and rear end plugs, and battery. I don't know. It'll probably change. But anyways, now it's time to take this sucker out of the box and vaguely try to figure out what the hell I'm going to do with all these wires. So basically, just to give you a quick one-up on what's going on, I'm going to be cutting everything to size eventually. But to get it running, I don't want to do that. I'm just basically going to plug everything in, get it just stationary on the car, make sure it runs, and then I'm going to, go ahead and do all the soldering and wiring. So, first thing I'm basically going to do here is just get out of the box and kind of show you guys what we have, and we'll go from there and see what happens. Okay, so getting started here, I got good news. The box is empty. And then I got bad news. I gotta feed this thing into the car. Oh, and there's more over there too. So basically my first goal here is to get everything kind of laid out in the rough position that it'll be in. The biggest issue I see now is this large cluster that's mainly under dash stuff that's really not used, besides the gauge console stuff, goes through the firewall on the car. I don't want to run this through the firewall at this point because I don't know exactly where it's going to be going. So instead of running it under the firewall, I'm going to try to go over the firewall wiring tray area here and kind of just get things mocked up to the point that I believe that's about where I can start plugging different systems in, and all the plugs will reach. So I'm going to go ahead and figure this freaking mess out here, and then I'll take some more video once I get that kind of situated where I want it and kind of show you how I have it laid out, and then we'll probably start on the engine bay here first and go from there. So, like I said, I don't have a clue what I'm doing, but here's the basic layout I have. Let's start. Let me turn the music off here just a second. Okay, so basically what we're looking at here is, the way I did it, I think is easiest, is this rubber plug here, followed by this one here, both go through the front firewall. So finding these two plugs and position them, fairly close to, passenger side, driver side of the firewall. Locating your ECU wires, and then basically going from there. There really is, when you look at it this way, there is a passenger side and a driver side to the wiring harness. So basically, once you get your driver side, run it all the way out, your passenger side, run it all the way out. There's also a separate cable here, your battery cable. That'll go behind the seat right there. And then this will hook up basically to a grounding point, as well as, I believe it had your alternator wires and alternator wires on it, maybe starter too, I don't know. Most of these wires here are headlights, turn signals, things like that. Those are the longest wires. Here, as you can see, you got idle control sensor, TPS, throttle position, power steering, blah, 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 blah. Or not power steering, but wiper, motor, radiator fan, stuff like that. So getting these here, got a relay box here, fuse panel right up there for the interior, and then basically running those two main parts of the harness would come through the firewall, and they join to the big cluster here. And this is what sat underneath the center console. Now, most of that wiring is airbags, HVAC, teed off, also off of that to go to your steering column. Those wires, as you can see, the steering column wires are mainly all right under here. And then these plugs off of this here, this goes through the driver's side sill plate, and this is all your rear wiring, fuel pump, tail lights, turn signals, brake lights. I guess those are all the same thing, but anyways, you get the idea. So that's probably the easiest way I found of breaking down the harness, is basically just having your firewall plugs, driver side, passenger side, running those out on both sides, battery wire and alternator wire running from the battery all the way up to the front, and then going from there, getting your ECU plugged in your wiring tray, your fuse box up here, and then routing your interior wires loosely over there, the ones that are needed for the dash pod, gauge pod, everything like that, under there. Then finding this wire that goes into the driver's side sill plate and running it out here to the rear of the car. Basically what we have there now is we have the wiring harness loosely laid out, and everything should be relatively in the right position as it was in the Miata. Basically, it's not going to look a whole lot different than this when I go to start the car, because basically I'm just going to have a mess of wires laying on top here, plugging all the sensors in, throttle position sensors, cam position sensors, yada yada, ignition coils, everything like that that is needed to actually run the motor on the car is going to be plugged in. All the gauge pods plugged in. Basically every plug I need that I will be using, even at the end, I want plugged in on the initial startup. Fuel pump, all my taillights stuff obviously aren't on, so all the light wiring, door sensors, things like that are completely useless. Airbags completely useless. Headlights, yada yada yada. So that's kind of what I'm going with here. I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. I think that's a good stopping point, as my next step's going to be actually starting to plug things in and get the wires positioned where they need to be. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you.